he would step across the line. Habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
HBCUs make me happy.
Christ.
Thank y'all for joining us on the Habitual Line Steppers podcast. I am a mascot for the A&T Ag. Oh, never mind. I am Garrett Charles Langley Henson. Thanks for joining us.
And I am Django. Terry Ricardo the Shays of the Second. I'm free, baby.
Hey, I got dibs on Steven then. Hey, man, it's been 2 days since we last talked. We've been waiting to do this pod for a minute. We're about 25 games into the NBA season, a little past the quarter pole. We've kind of seen how things have shaken out a little bit, the landscape of the land. And so we have a couple things that stood out to us thus far in the season, a couple observations, things that we were right about, things that I was definitely wrong about. So with no further ado, Terry, why don't you start us off with your first one?
Things that we're right about? Oof. Well, there's not a whole lot that you were right about. I can't sit here. I can't sit here and say we can lie to the people. It's just been kind of wacky, bro. It's been a little wacky. I will say this. We did predict the whole Jazz thing. So before everybody kind of gets in arms about that shit, they started dropping off. But we did say currently constructed. This is a 39-win team. And so far, it's looking exactly right. Now, I'll say on my side, I predicted that the Orlando Magic would be a 10 seed. They got like 6 wins. It's not looking so good for the home team. But I'll say this, bro. Like, bowl experiment, it's looking fantastic. It's looking cool. But that being said, you got to win some games. You know what I'm saying? Paolo's looking great. Everybody's looking great individually. But they can't play any defense. They can't get any rebounds. They don't block anybody. Free throw percentage
is
bad.
Wild because they're so big as a team.
It blows my mind. It blows my mind.
And then there's the Isaac question. Will Jonathan Isaac ever play in the NBA again? It's been 3 years since we last saw him play basketball, dude. 3 fucking years.
I don't know, man. Is it injuries or is he just not playing? I don't know what's going on with them, bro.
Yeah, he had those 2 injuries, and now it's been the road back. It's been like a Klay Thompson-esque. I think it's even longer than Klay's, man.
It's pretty bad. I don't know. I mean, the other thing, I'll say this too. Shout out to Rick Carlisle. I shat on him real early. I will continue to shit on Rick Carlisle. He is a good coach, but I still predict the Pacers drop off.
You said Pacers are going to be the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah, look, they're 13-12. It's not like they're crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, though. We were a year too early is what we were. Last year when we did this season preview, we were like, there's no way the Pacers are going to like actually suck. Rick Carlisle never tanks. He always finds out a way to put a decent team together. Like he's going to get the best out of these guys and they're going to be competitive. And then after last season, we're like, oh, they're finally going to tank for Wembanyama. They're not going to be stupid enough to be a play-in team this year.
Yeah. I don't know.
But,
I mean,
you look at the squad, it's like Halliburton is averaging 19-11 with over a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Benedict Mathurin is a Rookie of the Year candidate. Miles Turner's been hitting his threes along with Buddy Hield. They've been solid. Jalen Smith, Andrew Nembhard, Chris Duarte, and Isaiah Jackson have been like a good young core of good young players.
Yeah.
They don't suck. So you give Rick Carlisle like 8 guys who don't suck and who are all good. And we probably should have seen this coming. But that gigantic looming 7-foot specter of the Frenchman Victor Wembanyama, I thought that was going to cast a shadow over the Pacers this season. They'd do whatever it took to get a real star in there. But it looks like they're going to be content to make the play-in and have the 11th pick in the draft. So
I don't know.
Shout outs to Indiana.
I don't know. I mean, out of Indiana, Toronto, Philly, New York, Miami, I got the Pacers dropping under them. So that would put them at the 10, but you're still contending for the 10. I would just say drop it. Once you get to a point where you start dropping, because they started off super hot. You know what I'm saying? They had, I think they were either the 1 or the 2 seed like early in the season. Now we're sitting at 6, at 13-12. Philly's hurt. Toronto got a little hurt. If those 2 teams kind of come back, Miami, of course, they're always going to do their hurt. bullshit, trapeze artists. Like, are we good? Are we not? I don't know. They were a 1 seed. Now they're like the 10th. They're probably going to be
I saw
good.
that Duncan Robinson is getting paid $200,000 per three that he's making. That's his pace for this season.
Hey, make a bunch of threes, get your contract, you're good to go. It's not his fault Miami's not playing him. I think he's doing okay. It's just they don't play him as much. Look, Indiana, drop it off. It's done. We see the experiment. Some of you guys look good. Some of you guys might have a fluke hamstring injury towards the end of the season. I don't know. I'm just saying. I love Halliburton as well. I got one bone to pick with your boy Ben Simmons. When they were talking
Ben Simmons,
your boy. You listen to Ben
boy.
I mean, not Ben Simmons. Bill Simmons.
Oh, okay. All right.
Ben Simmons, his son. No, look, Bill, I understand. James Wiseman, he dropped down to the G League. You love Halliburton. You love a bunch of guys in the draft. But let me tell you this one thing. LaMelo Ball, if this is incorrect or correct, just let me know. Was he the only all-star in this whole draft class? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, so far.
Doesn't that say that he should have been drafted first before everybody? He's got the talent. I feel like he's the guy. I love Halliburton, but he's the only all-star. I'm just telling you. He's the dude. He's been hurt this year. I've seen flashes of greatness. Would
you take LaMelo over Halliburton right now?
Yeah. I'm taking LaMelo off all of them. Every single person in that draft class.
Nah, I'm out on that. All right.
And you live in Charlotte.
Two sides of the court, bro.
Look, your team sucks. I don't need to play defense if my team's bad. What's the point? I'm out of here. Come on.
That's the point of Halliburton. He's like, we're not going to be bad. We're not going to suck. Hey, fucking Isaiah Jackson, get over here. We're going to go beat the Warriors.
No.
Andrew Nembhard, this isn't Gonzaga anymore. It doesn't matter. We're going to go take down some of the best teams in the NBA.
If he keeps doing that, he's going to tank his way, or not tank. He's going to mess up his chances to get your boy. You're going to mess up your chances to get the next LeBron.
That's what I'm saying. Between Halliburton and Rick Carlisle, they fucked this up. Like, they're not getting Wembanyama of it. They're going to go push for the play-in.
Yeah, it's over.
Let's believe it. We misevaluated that one. Another one that I missed on, Terry, I thought the Celtics were going to take a step back this season after the whole Ime Udoka thing. Robert Williams has barely played. The foundation of their team was their unbelievable defense after picking up Derek White. So far, they have the 15th ranked defense in the NBA, but it hasn't mattered at all because they have the best offense in NBA history and the best record in the league.
Another NBA history breaking offensive thing going on? Is this just going to keep going until the year 2050? Like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I think it's definitely going up this year because the take fouls have been taken out. So it's like those are 5 transition opportunities a game that you get.
But let me ask you a question, though. Define a step back for you, though. Like, seed-wise? Because even though we were doing
I thought they were going to be 3rd or 4th, something like that.
Okay.
I just to ask a brand new coach to come in like after all this organizational turmoil and all this other stuff, and one of your premier players who I thought was the defensive player of the year last year, Robert Williams, is like barely played the whole season. Yeah. I was like, this is asking a lot of a new guy to come in here and remake this in his image, and they've been absolutely fantastic. Jason Tatum is averaging over 30 a game. Jaylen Brown is also averaging over 20. Both of them are playing like all NBA caliber defense.
Yeah.
The Celtics have been scorching everybody, and they got, random guys. Like every night it's another random guy, whether it's fucking Luke Cornett or Sam Hauser, or you never know who's going to be to come off the bench and hit 4 threes and just put a fucking stake right in your heart.
Yeah. Nah, they're straight up dominating the league. And it's a surprise for the complete domination. Now, I predicted them to be second, but the domination is kind of crazy. And also, like, considering Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, like, they are putting it together now perfectly. And last year they did it, a lot better as well. But, those two just seemed like they didn't fit. It was kind of more like a Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. It was like, look, we understand both of you guys are good, but it's just like you don't necessarily fit, and now they kind of seem to be making it work, and they play on the court a lot.
Credit to Malcolm Brogdon too for doing a lot to facilitate that fit and having the high IQ, and for staying on the fucking court. Like the guys played like 30 games in 4 years. And, he's probably he's going to eclipse that this season for the Celtics, no doubt.
He's the guy. I think he's exactly what everybody said he was going to be. And, I don't know. It's hard to predict a situation like that. So, we won't give too much slack for us being wrong on that. But I will say, it is.
Hey, I'll give myself a little bit of slack because I was really wrong about them. I was more wrong about them than you were. I went back and I listened to our pod and I said, I was like, if it were me, I'd be a lot more confident in the Heat this season than the Celtics.
Yeah, look, nobody wants to hear us say what we were right on. I said I knew the Heat are going to be trash. I said I knew Toronto ain't going to be shit. Toronto is giving me a little bit of flippy floppy. I don't know. I still like Scotty Barnes is playing a lot better. The only other thing I will say is when you said Kevin Durant is the most overrated player in the league, this dude is averaging 30 a game. He's if the Nets can get a little bit of a better record, he is probably the MVP of the league, bro. This dude is fucking killing
What?
It. He's killing
Are you
it, bro.
fucking kidding me?
Bro, you don't think KD's killing it?
They got a worse record than the Hawks, and you're going to tell me that he's going to be MVP
The Nets are the
of the
4 seed.
NBA?
The Nets are the 4 seed. The Nets have
we're
a better
the 4
record than the
seed.
Hawks.
We're the 4 seed.
No, you're out, baby.
No, we're not. I just looked at it 10 minutes ago.
Right
10 minutes
now.
ago.
Check it again. Today.
I'm looking at it right now.
11:40 a.m.
See the
Friday,
fucking
December 9th. The Atlanta Hawks are the 5th seed, and the Brooklyn Nets are the 4th seed, sitting at 14-12, baby. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Make that screw face.
No, right here on Bleacher Report. We're 13-12. They're 13-12.
They're 14 and 12.
We're tied. But
They're 14-12. The Nets are 14-12.
Oh, my shit ain't updated.
Refresh. There you go with that Bleacher Report and The Athletic giving you the wrong goddamn stats.
All the time, man. That shit is so upsetting. God damn it. But either way, man, I'm not buying the Nets this season. Ben Simmons, if he turns into anything, it's going to be as a fucking backup 5. That's where he's had his most success, is playing the 5 with them. I don't know what you do with Nick Claxton then. That's
cool. I'm just
we'll see how the pieces fit.
Just the overrated.
No, he's still overrated. No, I'm not taking it back. He's not
KD.
He's not the MVP.
The KD.
He's a completely one-way player right now. When's the last time you watched him play any resemblance of defense or create a basket for another person on his team besides who's not named Kevin Durant?
Hold on.
What is Kevin Durant doing this season that Jason Tatum isn't? Answer that question.
Nothing. He's not doing anything Jason Tatum can't do.
So Jason Tatum's scoring more points than him, has on a team that has the best record in the NBA, on the best offense in NBA history, and he's a far superior defender than Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant is the MVP.
Kevin Durant's the most overrated player in the NBA, like you declared before the season started. Now I get it. After us watching them versus the Celtics, I wasn't mad about it.
That's only because not everybody knows about Kevin Porter Jr.
All right. And well, since you won't admit it, we'll just move on. We'll move on. Anything?
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. I'm not. Hey, listen, man. We'll revisit that one at the end of the season, and we'll see who looks good and who looks pale.
I'm not comparing Tatum and Durant. I'm not here to compare. I'm just saying most overrated in the league. I can't give it to him. I said Scotty Barnes. You said Kevin Durant, and I think I'm a little more right than you are. KD is still looking like top 5. I won't say top 3, top 5. Top 5.
Yeah, the Raptors wouldn't trade him for Scotty Barnes in a second. They would hang up the phone if they called and said, we'll trade you Kevin Durant for Scotty Barnes. They'll report it to the fucking NSA as a terrorist threat.
You know what I'm actually worried about, though? Is if LeBron breaks the scoring record, if KD still plays like this and stays healthy, he's been pretty much healthy this whole season, I'm going to just be like, God damn, LeBron can't even get this record? KD's about to pass this shit. Give KD 5 more years healthy, scoring 29 a game.
Yeah. Is Kevin Durant still going to love playing basketball in 5 years?
No, but that doesn't mean he's going to not be good at
it. All right. Let's talk about one that we did hit, though. You correctly identified early, and I co-signed this, that the Chicago Bulls were going to have a season to forget.
Trash.
They did a lot of talking about the big 3 that's in town. And even they had some Instagram stuff calling it a big 4 with Patrick Williams.
Stop. Come on, Chicago.
I was like, bro, Y'all really put Patrick Williams in there before Lonzo Ball? Are you fucking kidding me?
Lonzo hasn't played a single minute.
The big three of Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, and DeMar DeRozan have been terrible in limited minutes this season. The Bulls have a losing record. Is it time to blow the Bulls' big three up? Have you seen enough?
Nah, it's only because of Ball and Caruso, but they just can't stay on the court anyways. Like if they're going to give you 40 games a season, count them out. And it's looking like it might be that way, but they're still hanging around. What's the expectation of the Bulls? Like what would the normal NBA fan say the Bulls are?
Well, like last year, remember, they were the 1 seed for 75% of the season.
Yeah.
And then, the injuries happened. Wheels fell off in the playoffs. A lot of people are like, we're getting all our guys back. Patrick Williams is going to be another year, developed in the NBA. Everyone's going to be healthy. We should be challenging for the Eastern Conference Finals. And right now, like, they're not even placed to make the play-in.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I had them at an 8 seed, and right now, you're right, bro. It's looking bad. But I think really though, if they do get Caruso and Ball back, they're a way better team. But if it's just going to be this constructed squad,
Caruso's back. He's just been terrible.
How many games?
I would say like 15, 20, something like that. It's been a decent sample, but he can't shoot for shit, and he's turned the ball over a ton. Playing his usual excellent defense, though.
That's tough, man. Yeah, they're just not good enough, bro. They're not good enough. Like
blow it up, man. Blow it up.
You put is DeRozan the best player on their team? Like that's easy, right? He's the best player.
DeRozan's the best player on the team. LaVine is second. I don't even know if Vucevic is third. If Lonzo Ball is better than him when he's healthy, and I'd probably take Caruso over Vucevic too.
Yeah, they just don't have the.
I'm not sure what Vucevic does.
Nothing.
Like that helps you in a playoff series. Like he's not really that spectacular of a post-up player. Like maybe beating switches on smaller guys, but he shoots a lot of threes, but not particularly well. You know what I mean? Like he's like a career 31, 32% three-point shooter on high volume. He couldn't guard a graveyard. Like,
man,
I don't know what he's supposed to do for you in the playoffs that was worth trading fucking Wendell Carter Jr. and 2 first-round picks for this guy.
That was a weird one. That was a fucking weird one. But I will say this, like, Vucevic he's okay. But he's just one of those dudes where it's like, you know how the NBA goes, like the guys who get paid the most stay on the floor. That's pretty much every sport. But when it comes to the playoffs, it's like, damn, pick and roll him to death. That's all they do. Every single time I watched them, I was like, the Bucks are just picking on him, and they're just getting every fucking bucket that they want. And it's unfortunate. Like DeRozan's good, but you can't be a good or great playoff team with him being your best player unless your team is absolutely stacked. Like those Toronto teams back in the day. Defense was outstanding. Coaching was outstanding. They had a really good, like, young guys. But DeRozan can't get you the clutch bucket. If that's your guy, you're not going to win. If Zach LaVine is going to go ghost in the playoffs, you ain't doing shit. So nobody's worried about the Bulls. They're fucking done.
So what's the way out of there? Do you trade LaVine or DeRozan?
I guess.
Which one? Because it's not Vucevic. Are we trading LaVine, Ball, DeRozan, a combination 2 out of the 3? Like, who's going to be the sacrificial lamb here?
Bro, it's got to be LaVine, I guess. I mean, what are you going to do? Like,
that's what players, I think he is the highest value.
LaVine? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're too good to tank. Like, they're not playing well, but all those players in their team are too good for them to be, like, really bad. Like, they'll probably still make the playoffs.
I tell you what, man, if I was Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks, I'd be calling them every night. Every night. You ready to let go of Zach LaVine yet? Have you guys seen enough? How many first-round picks you guys want? Is 2 fine? All right. Yeah. We'll talk tomorrow. Every night, call that number.
They're in trouble, bro.
That's the trade we need to see. Zach LaVine to the Mavericks to get him a legitimate second guy.
No, that's the one. And then I'll say this. Another one for me on my side. Sixers are trash. Even though Harden's been out for a month, I don't know why I did it again. Embiid, he did it to me again. Embiid, I won't fall for it anymore. I'm done. Do you think Embiid will ever win an MVP?
Man,
Mm?
no. I'm just gonna say no, and the reason is the inefficiency. It's like he takes all these jumpers and everything like that. His free throw rate is what ends up like making him. But it's hard to win MVP when you're a center shooting like 48% from the floor.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, bro.
That being said, Harden and Maxey have missed 20 games this season, and in those 20 games that they've missed, Embiid is averaging 34, 10, and 6. So if you put up 34, 10, and 6, all that inefficiency shit goes out the window. You're winning MVP.
Because he has to do it by himself. I need them boys back, though. If they come back and Philly – so say Philly – what does Philly have to be? Where do they have to be in the standings? Because of Tatum playing so well.
Yeah.
Because of also Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs are a surprise team kind of, sneaking. If Doncic does more, if Jokic probably won't win another MVP, but like where do Philly have to be for Embiid to win an MVP?
I think they have to be like top 3 in the East.
They probably have to be 2 for me.
And I tell you what, if the gap is too big between like the one and them, like if it's the Celtics are 12 games better than them or something like that, he's not winning.
And the Bucks too. The Bucks are only 18-6. Yeah. And the Celtics got 21 wins, so Philly's got to be close. Philly has to give me a 2 seed. Like Maxey and Harden got to do some unbelievable shit.
Yeah, they better because they're 500 right now. They're 8th in the East, so that's a lot of climbing to go all the way up to the 2 seed.
12-12. Ain't looking good.
Let's talk about one that we kind of missed and kind of hit. Is in between. Anthony Davis is back as a top 10 player in the NBA.
Hey, man. Top 5. Shit. Fuck you talking about? That month, bro.
Hey, he outplayed Giannis head-to-head.
44 points versus Giannis? Now, that was the one because we already looked at it. The Lakers' schedule, cupcake. Absolute cupcake for the beginning of the season. But that was the game. I was like, all right, if Anthony Davis plays well against Giannis, I'll give him some slack. But not only did he play well, he went one-on-one with them, dominated him. Probably only 3 people can say they went one-on-one with Giannis and, like, beat him. They this dude, he's killing it. He's getting rebounds. He's playing the 5. He's not being a little.
Yeah, there it is. He's playing the 5.
Not complaining about it.
Like what we've called for fucking 3 years since they won the championship with him playing the 5.
Yeah.
And
facts.
Unheralded guy, for the Lakers who have won 8 out of their last 10 and are starting to look like a competent NBA team after looking like a joke, the Washington Generals of the West. Unheralded guy has been Thomas Bryant, who's returned from them. He could shoot. He's a stretch 5. And so they can play him in some minutes with AD and it doesn't fuck up the spacing and he can like play a nominal 4, or he can be the 5 and AD can roam like Robert Williams on defense. Or, with the second unit, now Russell Westbrook has a modicum of space to operate with that he's not fucking throwing it up to Wenyen Gabriel in a crowded paint area. Like suddenly with him on the floor, now there's room for these other guys to operate. I think that he's been great for them this season. But Anthony Davis during a 10-game stretch averaging 35, 15.5 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 3 assists while making 65% of his shots.
It's crazy, bro. It's absolutely insane. But I don't know, man. Like the Lakers going 8-2 ever, I would have never predicted that. Like for the entirety of the season, for a 10-game stretch, the Lakers going 8-2. I'm like, no, are you crazy? Like I'll bet my whole house on that. They'll never go 8-2, but they did. That being said, they just lost 2 straight. So, it's not there yet. They're getting an identity, but it's not there yet. I will say I'll give Westbrook.
Hey, the last 2, though, AD didn't play, right? Because he had flu, something like that.
Oh, yeah. You know what? So I guess if he doesn't play, they're out. LeBron just isn't the guy anymore, huh? He's done.
I mean, we know they're not winning without Anthony Davis. I mean, come on.
No.
Yeah, that's 0% chance of that. But I'm happy for him because a part of me like wondered if that guy, like the Anthony Davis that was first team All NBA like 4 out of 5 years in a row in New Orleans. Like if that guy was gone, because he was shooting, I think, the worst percentage in the NBA on jumpers for an extended period of time. Like, wasn't playing in his natural position. He didn't look spry. He looked like he put on too much weight and was stiff out there, moving around like Dwight Howard. And things have changed, man. And he's recovered his form. And I'm very happy for Anthony Davis. The NBA is a better place with more dominant players. Shout out to the big fella. And I hope you learned a lesson about playing the 4.
Well, I think it gives you, a little bit of added motivation when your coach can beat your ass. When he's like, no, you're playing the like Darvin Ham is like, nah, you're playing the 5. If you don't, I'll scrap you one-on-one. What are you going to do about it? He's like, all right, I got it. I'll play the 5. I'm the brow the 5. But what he did this week.
Shouts to Darvin. Been doing a great job in LA with, a rough hand of cards. Russell Westbrook has looked good off the bench. He finally got him to buy in. Russell Westbrook off the bench this season, Terry, averaging 15, 8, and 5.
6 men in a year?
Bench.
6 men in a year?
I mean, those would be 6 man of the year numbers if
he'll probably get
the
it.
Lakers ended up winning. But shouts to him for actually accepting a bench role and playing like within the flow of the offense and not just, pushing it as hard as you can every time and having a bunch of wild airball layups and midair jump pass turnovers.
Yeah. I mean, when you watch them, though, because I've watched a couple of games when AD was dominating. I definitely watched that Bucks game. My thing is like when they come off the bench with Westbrook, the pace is crazy. It's unbelievable. But he's smarter when LeBron and AD are on the court. He's not just taking a 3 because he has to. He's driving it, when there's just one-on-one isolation moments. He's not just going into a crowd for no reason. But it does help that AD's playing the 5. That was the whole plan.
One last Russell Westbrook thing that obviously touches a soft spot in my heart that I love to see. He has been posting up a lot.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like,
it's
been a lot less pull-up jumpers from the elbow, and it's been a lot more like power post-ups taking advantage of smaller, less athletic guards. I absolutely love to see it. He can facilitate out of the post there. Like, that much more suits his game. Embrace the post moves, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. I will say this. LeBron got to stay healthy. AD has to stay healthy. And Westbrook, he's going to do his thing. He doesn't really get hurt like that.
Never thought I'd say this. Russell Westbrook looking like a poor man's version of Jalen Brunson.
A poor man's version of Jalen Brunson. Hey, look. Lakers fans, calm down. You're 10-14, all right? You edged your way back up a little bit, but you're still either the 12th or the 13th seed in the West. I'm going to need you to calm down, all right? It's a big deal that AD's playing great, but we all know it only takes one fall, and your boy is like, I'm out a month. I'm out 2 months. I'm out. So calm down. I love AD. I want him to be the greatest, but
y'all are one rolled ankle away from Dennis Schroeder taking 18 shots a game.
Yeah. Hey, look, let me ask you a question, though. Like, with them looking how they have been looking, how scary can they be in the playoffs? Like, if they do make it and they're all healthy, granted, that's a huge ask.
They got to make a roster move. Like, as currently constructed, they're not a threat to anybody. But if they make a significant roster move, they cash in at least one of these 2 first-round picks that they have eligible to be traded, then we could have a different discussion.
So they still need a roster.
I mean, I don't see anyone who they could add for the price of those 2 picks that would make them a championship contender. Like, I don't know who that player is, and I don't think he exists.
I think there's a couple teams at the top that they can beat. Like, I think they can beat Phoenix. And I also think they can beat, like, Dallas isn't at the top, but I think they can beat Dallas.
They're not going to beat Phoenix. As much as I disrespect
you don't think so?
Paul this season, they know how to play good basketball. Like, their guys are just so much smarter than a lot of the dumbasses they have running around in L.A.
Oh, please. And do me one favor. When you did your Western predictions for the seedings, you had Phoenix at the 8. I'm going to need you to stop the cap.
Trust me. All right, let's get to it now.
Go for
it. Right. My top 3 in the West were the Nuggets, who are 1 game back of the lead, the Warriors, who are 10th in the West, and the Wolves, who are 11th in the West. Now, the Nuggets have been terrible on defense with Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., and Jamal Murray all on the court together. Offensively, they've looked good. The role players have looked good with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown. But, Michael Porter Jr. is coming off a back injury. Jamal Murray is coming off, ACL surgery?
ACL.
Yeah, it's like, these are going to be two horrible defenders as they're finding their footing on the defensive end. And I think it's been reasonable to expect that they come out a little slow defensively out of the gates. I'm not too worried about the Nuggets. For the Warriors, Steph Curry has been the MVP this year, not Kevin Durant.
The 13 Warriors?
Yeah. His numbers have been better than his unanimous MVP season.
They have.
Their started 5 numbers are still like ridiculous and are blowing teams out with their starting 5. And their bench has been bad to the point where they're sending Kuminga and Wiseman to the G League. Now they finally found a bit of a solution, and we talked about him a couple of weeks ago in Anthony Lamb, the guy I said I had never heard of before, who was playing real minutes for them. He could shoot. He does a little bit of everything. He did just get charged with rape in a civil court. Yeah, yesterday they just filed a civil lawsuit against him for rape while he was in college. So we'll see how that plays out. He's kind of stabilized their bench unit. And if their bench can just not be like one of the 5 worst units in the NBA, I think they're going to be just fine.
I think their bench unit is going to be one of the 5 worst in the NBA. They're going to have to make a move, bro. Like, look, I love Klay Thompson, but he's one of my least favorite players ever. Do you know why? A guy like me, I like somebody who can pass. I swear to God, if Steph Curry, just imagine in a world, give me this. If there's no
Steph. Is he allowed to pass?
In a world, right? If Steph is gone and Jordan Poole is gone, right? And Klay's the point guard. Do you even think he could pass? Do you even think he could run the offense? Do you even think he could get 4 assists a game? 4, just 4. He just can't pass. I've never seen a highlight. I know there's one out there of him making a nice dime bounce pass to someone for an easy layup or a fucking 3. I've never seen it with my eyes. And he's been in the league for like 8-9 years. I'm just saying, like, you got to give me something. You can't keep shooting all the time.
Klay would kill to have Kevin Huerter's pick and roll ability.
Bro, and the NBA is cutting off on these carries and shit, dude. Carries and travel.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole got called for 4 carries in one game. Steph Curry got called for a travel on a game winner. Like, it does feel like they're targeting the Warriors a bit. It does feel like they're targeting.
It's a little bit too much. Because when you go to Memphis and you look at one of my favorite players, Mr. John Morant, I mean, I'm going to need some more carrying calls on my boy John.
Yeah, I just saw a compilation of like 5 minutes of him carrying the ball and traveling.
His whole hand is under the shit, bro. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
But they don't call it. It's all good. John, face of the league.
How do you feel about that? Real talk. Like a month into the season, the amount of travel calls and carry calls have like increased by 5,000%. Like they literally said that there's more than 3 times as many calls being made. And it wasn't from the beginning of the season. Clearly they went like a month and then they put in like a point of focus for the referees. How do you feel about them calling it like 3 times as much as they did previously? And do you want to see them continue that over the course of the season in the playoffs?
I think I'd like to see it be continued, but it's just one of those things. It's going to even out, but it's one of those things that every year they just make a point of emphasis on something. Like, what was it the year before when James Harden was getting no foul calls and Trae Young wasn't getting any foul calls?
Yeah, that you can't jump backwards into the defender or you know what I mean?
It's always something. And it looks like this year this is what, their new rule is going to be. I mean, the great offensive players are going to adjust to it. It's not going to be that big a deal. I'm sure Jordan Poole, he'll adjust. He'll start doing some different shit. He'll start, having a different dribble package. It's not that big a deal. It's something that they've looked at.
I feel like we may be too far gone. Like,
dudes be traveling crazy though.
Yeah. Even more specifically with the I think we're too far gone with the carries. Even if you call it 20 times a game, they're going to be 200 uncalled carries in a basketball game.
Yeah.
Like every player does it every possession. And so it's like, are you going to stop every possession and call this? Or are you just going to selectively call this 10 times out of a game when they really do it 200 times. With
lot
the
of them
traveling,
do.
I feel that's a little easier because
Traveling.
it's like.
So you're cool with the traveling, but you think the carrying is a little.
I think the carrying is just we let it go too long, and now it's part of like the game. It is what it is, and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. But with the traveling, you can figure that out easy. You know what 2 steps looks like. That doesn't ever fucking change.
Because to be honest, like if they're gonna keep calling the carrying, it's not crazy. Like they are changing. It's like 25%. The guys are like, all right, that's a carry, but the other percent they just let it go. If they keep calling it how they call it, KD would never make it in the league. Ja would be out. There'd be no fucking AI would never be in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to let the dudes do what they do. Jordan Poole, he's a little bench player. They're like, look, bro, we're going to get you out this league one way or another. You better start dribbling like a regular person. Get it together. The Steph calls are crazy. I understand the Poole ones, but don't call it on Steph. He's like the face. He's almost the face of the league. Let him get away with it. Come on.
No travels. You want to buy tickets. If you want to go to Cancun, you contract your travel agent. You don't do it on my time.
On that game winner, that travel was a little suspect. I don't know if that was a full-on, like, good travel. He traveled earlier in the game, but that one, come on the game winner, you gotta let that one go. You gotta
listen, man. The one I want to get rid of are these like Bradley Beal, Giannis travels where they just like barrel into the paint. And then they're like taking 5 steps as they bobble the ball around and lose it, and then like regather it when they're underneath the hoop, and then like go up.
Yeah,
like those are the ones that I want to see taken out because it's like, oh, he lost control for a half a second, so he can just take 7 steps without dribbling. Like get the fuck.
That's true, but let's not get too carried away. Let's start.
Last one, the Timberwolves.
Oh God.
I said that they were going to have the 3rd best record in the West. They've just been absolutely fucking terrible. They have the worst effort in the NBA. They have the 2nd worst body language behind the Atlanta Hawks. Like Cat, D'Angelo Russell, and Anthony Edwards just don't play hard on a night-to-night basis. Like you just have no idea what type of effort you're going to get from them, either like physically or in terms of focus, where sometimes they just like, oh, we got Rudy Gobert back there. Like, we don't have to guard anybody. Like, I'll just fucking stand around. Karl Anthony Towns has been abysmal. The minutes that they've had with him and Gobert on the floor have been beyond putrid. When they play without Cat and they just play with Gobert, they're actually good. They have the 2nd best defense in the NBA. Like, because
they've been staggering those two a lot. It didn't take them long to stagger either. Like, when you start staggering your 2 star players
in game 5,
before 25% of the season has gone by, you already know there's a big problem. But what's up with Edwards? That's your boy. What's going on with Anthony, man? He wants to play football?
Said he came into camp way overweight. He's playing his way into shape. He's talked about the lack of spacing on the court with Gobert there. D'Angelo Russell hasn't done him any favors getting him the ball in like favorable positions where he can attack. I thought the point guard play has been fucking terrible for them this year.
Yeah.
And you never really think that you'll say a sentence like this, but I think they really miss Patrick Beverley. Like they don't have a guy on their team who's going to set that standard of like grit and effort on a night-to-night basis and just expect Gobert to clean up everything. And they don't have a single guy on the team who like is trying to play defense. As bad as Beverly was, at least he set a tone for them and an expectation and kept people accountable.
Yeah, it's not only him though; it's Vanderbilt too. They miss him as well. It's those 2 guys. They're
scrambling.
The defensive identity is gone. I think offensively they can, kind of get away with certain shit, but you got to give a little bit of effort on the other end, dog. If they're not going to do that, they're going to make the playoffs like that.
Who gets traded first, Zach LaVine or Karl Anthony Towns?
Ooh,
2 former teammates.
I think Zach LaVine. Like, with all due respect to Cat, there just isn't 10 other centers or power forwards that are like, getting the numbers that he gets. So by default, he's going to stay like, the number 1 or number 2 guy on the team. Zach LaVine, there's a bunch of guards and forwards that can fucking give you 25. Yeah. So it's different. It's just
let me tell you Timberwolves fans a secret, though. Gobert ain't going nowhere now. Anthony Edwards ain't going nowhere. It's Cat. He's going to be the one to go.
Probably. I don't know, man. I just don't see him going anywhere, dude. They beat.
Hey, well, the top 3 teams in the West right now, they're not trying to go nowhere either, despite where I had them ranked at the beginning of the season. Right now, the best 3 teams in the West are the Pelicans, the Suns, and the Grizzlies. Now, I was pretty high on the Pelicans before the season, and I picked them as the 4th best team, but I said in the playoffs that they could go all the way. They've been pretty freaking awesome. Zion Williamson, over their 5-game win streak, is averaging 28, 10, 6, 2, and 1.5, shooting damn near 70% from the field. He's playing his ass off on defense. And we still haven't gotten to see what the team really looks like with all the pieces there together for an extended period.
Yeah.
Between Zion, CJ, Brandon Ingram, and Herb Jones, they've missed over 25 games this season. So they're in the number 1 spot, and they are not even at full strength. And I'm super excited to see what the Pelicans are going to do this season. That's who I demanded a trade to in 2K with my player before the season even started. I said, get me out of Detroit and get me to New Orleans. They have something special brewing down there.
Yeah.
Little did I know they could do it without Garrett Longley.
Look, bro, if the West is going to stay as wide open as it is, why not the Pelicans, dude? Why not? I mean, nobody's really, taking reins of the West and really, putting their mark on everything. So why not? They got a good team. Their roster's pretty fucking deep. So I got to give it to them, bro. They're 1 through 8. I like them 1 through 8. They're really good. Because, if your top 5 in the West is going to consist of the Kings, no disrespect to De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis doing their thing. They're number 5. Memphis, I don't know yet. I like Ja. I like Bane. I like Jackson Jr., but I don't know yet. I'm not sure. The Suns, we thought they were going to collapse. Chris Paul still not doing his thing. Nuggets, no defense.
We'll get to them in a second. I think we'll have to check back in at the 3-quarter poll and see how the Suns are doing.
If that is your 4, I like the Pelicans better than all of them. I like those teams, but they're not there yet for me. Their defense, I think Memphis and the Pelicans probably, I would say, have the players to have a defensive stop in a playoff game, and you're just like, all right, we need this stop. Somebody get it. Those guys got it. Herb Jones, I think he's got that shit. Bane, and who else is on the Memphis that plays really good defense besides Jackson? Jackson's got good D. I think it's Bane, somebody else on Memphis, but they play good defense, so I believe in them more than the Nuggets, more than the Kings.
Steven Adams.
Adams is decent.
He plays some good fucking defense.
Clark is decent. They got a nice rotation.
All their fucking wings too. It's all these big weird guys they have are decent too. Dylan Brooks can play defense.
Brooks, that's the motherfucker. As long as he doesn't take 18 shots.
That's a good one. Yeah, they're right now. They're the 3rd team in the West.
Yeah,
and I correctly saw the Dylan Brooks regression coming. I correctly saw that he was going to take the 2nd most shots on the team, and the disease of me was going to set in for Dylan Brooks. I did not know that it wasn't going to fucking matter because everyone else is going to play so well. Desmond Bane is averaging over 20 points a game on stupid efficiency. He's passing the ball well. He's running pick and roll. He's playing great defense. Jaren Jackson Jr. is scoring more points than Dylan Brooks, despite taking 4 less shots a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, as much
efficient. Everyone but Dylan Brooks is scoring the ball with efficiency.
No, that's
fact. So, him shooting 38% from the field on 18 attempts a game hasn't really mattered.
That's facts. But, as much as I love hearing you saying you were right on certain things, I love hearing saying you were wrong on certain shit. We're not going to get to Phoenix yet, but I'd like to say this to you. Ja Morant top 10, and you gave me the strongest defense of what the fuck is wrong with you type of I don't know what was going on with you saying Ja wasn't top 10. Are you ready to apologize yet? Are you ready to say Ja's top 10? Or are you still going to be stubborn? You still going to say no? No top 10 for Ja?
Not yet. We're way into the season.
This guy's crazy. You're insane. Not top 10 is pretty fucking insane, bro.
All right. Let me just name the point guards that are at least on the level of him, if not better. Steph Curry.
Okay.
Luka Doncic.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. You still with me? All right.
Positionally, yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yep. Trae Young.
That's iffy.
Call me when Ja goes to the conference finals.
God, you
and
go
has a
hard on
lead
this
over the NBA
one,
championships.
this one conference finals appearance, and Trae Young is the guy. Now.
He's only been in the playoffs for 2 years, Terry. That was one out of his 2 trips to the playoffs. He went to the conference finals.
Trae Young, he's starting to slip, dude.
Okay. Are we sure he's better than SGA?
I'll give you SGA. Same.
That's 4. Now, these are just point guards, and you're saying he's going to be in the top 10 of all players in the NBA. I haven't even gotten to Donovan Mitchell.
Hey, SGA and OKC are not in the playoff picture, so that's a demotion.
I didn't say MVP. I was like, are we sure he's better than him? We're not. So look, how can you be a top 5 or how can you be a top 10 player in the NBA if we're not even sure you're a top 5 point guard? That's my case.
But my thing is, like, if your team isn't in the playoffs, you can be really good. You're not top 10, though. Like, Ja Morant is consistently keeping the Grizzlies up in the top 3 seeds of the West. Or top
Do you
4,
think it would be that much different with SGA there or Halliburton there?
Hard to say. They haven't done it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to say, brother. You know I'm right about that.
I'm just saying, I don't know. There's this big gulf of Ja Morant. Like, he's this 4-shirt top 10 guy. I'm not sure yet. I want to see more. That's all I'm saying. Electric town. I want to see more.
Look, man, you can say a lot of things about guards. Guards are electric. But if your team is winning, I got to give it to you. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, and I tell you what, he better look out because Devin Booker's been playing a lot of point guard this season too.
I know. But how much more time for you until Ja's top? Half or 75% of the season?
75. We'll see where the Grizzlies are.
Top 3
You gotta be top 3. Yeah.
All right. Mark your words. Mark it here. December 9th, 12:15 p.m. Ja Morant, top 10.
But realistically, Terry, if I'm going to be honest with myself and the people, I got to see a playoff run. Like, I got to see a playoff run before I put you on that level.
Then they make the second round.
Same thing goes with SGA. Same joint. Got to see a playoff run. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, Donovan Mitchell, he's made the playoffs his whole career.
No, that was Rudy Gobert. All right, let me just do it. Let me go to the Phoenix Suns, the team I was most wrong about. Yeah, I thought that they were going to contend for the play-in. Right now, they have the second best record in the West. Haven't looked particularly inspiring. They lost by 50 to the Celtics the other night. I don't know if you saw that YouTube video. Fucking Torrey Craig hits a big 3 to cut the lead to 45. I love that YouTube video. But, yeah, Chris Paul is averaging less than 9 points a game. You know, they're spreading the scoring out, like, throughout the whole team. They have, like, 10 guys averaging over 5 points a game. Like, Miles Bridges has been looking really good. Devin Booker is taking his game to the next level. DeAndre Ayton is not looking disgruntled and is, like, shooting jump shots, finishing over smaller defenders, playing defense, looking like him and the coach are best friends again. Don't understand it. Cam Johnson has barely played. Jay Crowder might be the worst player in NBA history to hold out and demand a trade. And yet, they're still just clicking along, man. Playing good basketball, making smart decisions in the moment. Bismack Biyombo should donate 40% of all of his earnings to Devin Booker and Chris Paul for the remaining of his life. But yeah, I just still don't believe in him, man. And like the Grizzlies and Ja Morant, we're gonna check back in on them 3 quarters into the season, how they're doing, because I don't buy it. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think you can depend on Jock Lando to be your stretch big, and I don't think you're going anywhere when your starting point guard is averaging less than 10 points a game, shooting under 40% from the field.
Nah, I think you're going to end up being right. I'm just, like, fucking with you. Like, the Suns' record right now, it's okay. They're 16-9. Like, that's nothing special, nothing to harp about. But they haven't really beaten any good teams. And at the end of the day, even if you check, everybody just go to ESPN, look at team standings, go to who they beat that's above 500. I just want you to check that halfway into the season and then see where their record is, because they're not beating good teams. And versus bad teams, they're barely beating them. So even though it looks like it's, they're the second seed in the West and all this type of shit, they're 16-9. They're barely above 500 teams. So slow your roll. It's okay. If they stay at the top, though, I'm going to be on your ass, Garrett. I'm going to be on your fucking ass. I still believe in them.
You know what? If they do stay, I'll just move the goalposts again. And I'll just Utah and be like, okay, well, it's great being good in the regular season. You've seen that. Let me see you do it in the playoffs. I'll just move the goalposts again.
You can't keep doing that.
Me. You're never going to get me.
You can't keep doing that. You can't keep doing that. If they're top 4, you got to apologize. But the Chris Paul shit's done. Paul shit's done. He's out of here.
I'm not apologizing until Chris Paul does to all the people whose nuts he's grabbed.
Oh, my God.
Until he writes that apology, I'm not apologizing.
That's 16 pairs of nuts. Or no,
there you go.
Pairs. That's 16 individual nuts. That's a lot of nuts. That's not happening.
A 15 if you count mono. Or Manu.
All right, man. Look.
Any other NBA observations you want to talk about, bro?
Nah, quarterly review. I think Tatum's probably MVP. Most improved, I'd probably give
Whoa. I thought it was Kevin Durant.
The Celtics are too good. I can't go. Tatum's MVP. Who's your MVP? Quarterway. Last year was DeRozan.
Right now, it's got to be Tatum because their record is so much better than everybody else.
We'll give it to them.
Steph Curry is in the rearview mirror and he's approaching quickly. You know that it says objects may appear closer or are actually closer than they appear. That's Steph Curry right now. As soon as they get that bench together, all they got to do is get the bench together. That's what's keeping it from winning the award because he's been the best player in the NBA this season.
Let me put you in on a secret. Unfortunately, in most basketball circles, Nikola Jokic ruined the MVP last year by being a 6 seed. So Steph's got to be 5 or 4. If he's not 5 or above, he's not getting it.
Yeah, 100%.
He's not getting it. Because that shit last year, I mean, everybody, you can say whatever you want to say. I thought that shit was complete bullshit. But we can keep it moving. We can keep moving.
Complete bullshit. Well, I can't wait to hear how you feel about Brittney Griner then, who was released yesterday from Russian prison. We trade her in exchange for what's his name? Victor Mount? What's his name? Victor what?
Hold on. I'm gonna need you to we gotta edit this.
Right.
Victor Bout. All right. Yeah.
Brittney Griner was released yesterday in a prisoner exchange with Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. If you'd like to know about a little bit more about Victor, you can just watch the movie Lord of War with Nicolas Cage. It's about him. That's the type of guy that we sent back in the deal. But Terry, actually, I'll let you go on this one first because my opinion about this has changed over the last months, weeks, and even overnight as I slept on it. So how do you feel? Was this a good trade? And what are your thoughts on Brittney Griner being back in America?
Well, of course, I don't think the trade was fair. Like, I am glad that she is back. Like, that's cool. But it kind of shows our culture versus other countries' cultures. We care more about entertainment. We care more about sports. We care more about bullshit than we do, like, actual plausible things that matter in the world. As far as, like, people that can fuck us up. Terrorists and shit. We care about that. Our arms game is crazy. But in the mainstream media, all we care about is entertainment. Wild shit. Brittney Griner. Every fucking month we talked about Brittney Griner all the time. It's cool that we got her back. I'm fine. I'm happy that she's back. We just kind of need to shift our focuses on certain things. Like politics should be number one because you need to get money because you need to focus on like the politics of America. Like that pertains to your actual pockets. Brittney Griner has nothing to do with our pockets. Now, that being said, I am totally glad that she's back. But I feel like the American people are just always focused on the wrong shit. We just gave up somebody very important to Russia. Like, very important to them. And they're in the middle of a war. Even though he's old as shit now, he's not going to be the same dude he was. I think
it's gave them the greatest fucking weapons trafficker in the history of the country in the middle while they're in a fucking war.
Like, even though he probably can't do what he used to do back in the day, he can still like inform a lot of other people in Russia on the things that he did and like tell them how he did his shit.
Oh, I'm
and,
sure Russia is going to put the kibosh on it after doing all this to get him back. I'm sure they're going to. You know what this is going to be like when Victor comes back? You remember on that episode of Chappelle's Show where they had the Law and Order, if they had reversed it and had black folks with the white people, and they're like, what if these Enron guys went to black prison, were treated like black guys? And what if a local crack dealer was treated like one of these CEOs who embezzled $1 billion? And he's talking to the DA afterwards.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's pointing to the tape recorder and he's going, and after I get out, can I continue trafficking rocks to my community? And the fucking DA looks at the tape recorder and goes, absolutely not.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I totally remember that.
That's Victor coming back to Russia. Am I going to be allowed to move these AK-47s into Ukraine? Yeah. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Look, man, like I said, I'm going to finish up. But like I said, two things can be true, people. Just like, stop thinking just because I said one thing or just because somebody says one thing, that doesn't mean I'm not upset about something else or that I'm not, speaking the truth. Like, I am glad that she's back. It's just the person that we swapped with is a very dangerous person that we gave. Yeah, we gave them a very dangerous person. So, I mean.
So I agree with you, man. In a vacuum, the practice of trading an internationally wanted arms dealer for 20-9 in the WNBA is not a good practice. I agree with that on theory. At the same time, man, the more I've read about this and the more I've educated myself, the more complex my opinion has become, and the more I've been willing to admit that I've been wrong and need to take a step back.
Yeah.
This whole story starts with what the U.S. classifies as Brittney Griner being improperly detained in Russia. The stories of her detainment and her arrest, the U.S. Embassy is contending that this was like a setup. And that there's not even evidence she ever did have a weed cart, that Russia was waiting for a high-profile American citizen to arrive and set all this up from the beginning to use her as a bargaining chip to get Victor back. And that this was all designed from the beginning.
Yeah.
If you look at this through that lens and realize that Russia has no separation of anything, that there's no transparency throughout, that their dictator is a person who's wanted for international war crimes, there's no separation of police and press, anything. So there's no way to verify any of the things that the Russian government or the police say. It's no way to verify that they are true, and it's probably better to assume that they're lies.
Okay.
And looking through that prison, she pleads guilty. She gets sentenced to 9 years. She admits complete fault. All these things. All of that was just to get to this point where she could be processed through the system, sentenced to 9 years, and now we can trade her. Yeah. So all the people like myself who start off saying listen, if you travel to another country, you need to know their laws. How stupid could you be to go some other place and do something that's a class 1 offense? We don't even know that she did. All right. And the U.S. is contending, in fact, that she never did, that it was an improper arrest.
Gotcha.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, my second take after this was we traded an actually valuable international person in this arms dealer, Victor Bout, who's wanted and is coveted having him by Russia, by other countries, for a person that nobody wants but us in Brittney Griner, who has little value in terms of international currency, being able to exchange something here for something else we want.
Yeah,
we've had a spy that's been detained in Russia 8 years already, named Paul Whelan, who we were trying to get back in this deal with Brittney Griner for a year, basically. Mm-hmm. And it appears that this could have been the whole purpose of the whole thing, was that they did all this so that they could refuse to give us Paul Whelan back in return. So now we tried to work out a 2-for-1 type of deal, and we'll add some stuff on. We'll give you a first-round draft pick. They're like, no, we're only trading Brittney. You're not getting Paul. So At some point, the U.S. and Joe Biden had to just be like, listen, man, we got to take what we can get. They're not going to do the deal to get him back. They have somebody who we want now. They have all the leverage. Every day that she's over there makes us look weak, makes us look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did the deal that they could do, that was available to do for them. The thing that was hard for me was because it's like we could have used Victor Bout to get something we really needed, to get something we really wanted, instead of like a WNBA player back. You know what I mean? Get something that has actual political ramifications.
Let's not even like diminish her as that. She's just a regular U.S. citizen. We traded a regular U.S. citizen for like someone that can help in a war. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah,
you know? And
like that's not a good practice, and it would have been better if we could have traded a guy who was good in the war for something who would have helped us as a country instead of, you know, helping the LA Sparks on the boards. But my last point about it is this, is like that wasn't going to happen. And Russia, like once they made it known that like we got her, they're like, this shit for bringing Paul Whelan is out the window. And that was the whole point. So I think for all the people who are quick to blame Brittney Griner, or maybe who haven't read as much about the situations they should, who was myself included, I gotta say, maybe do some more time to like educate yourself and figure out what's going on, because this entire thing seems like a setup from the jump. And I think the big takeaway, I mean, there are two takeaways here for me, but the first one is no American should travel to Russia, period, for any reason. Like, there's no reason to be in Russia. If you want to play women's basketball, go to France. Go to Spain, like in Love and Basketball. Don't go to fucking Russia. All right? That shit is over. We're not stepping foot back in Russia. A single one of us. Unless your name is James Bond, you're not going to Russia.
Especially not now. Especially not now, honestly.
The second thing is the WNBA, I feel like, has a larger imperative to market their league better and to grow their league better. So these girls feel like they don't have to go abroad to make like this additional revenue. Yeah. Like we've seen the WNBA. I mean, it's been around for 25 years now. It's still being subsidized for the NBA. We've had our own thoughts about lowering the rims and everything like that. But the fact remains, there are a lot of like plays and displays of skill, athleticism in the WNBA that casual fans would tune into if it was marketed properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it was marketed as the pick and roll game and the decision making and, you know, the purity of basketball and sharing the ball and, you know, all of the skill technical based things, you know, snaking the pick and roll, reading it, manipulating this person with your eyes. They do all that in the WNBA. And it's very instructional, and it can be fun to watch if you come in with the like right mindset. But I think the WNBA has got to look at this and say, we've got to do a better job marketing this domestic product going forward and making it exciting so that these women can get paid and not have to go to Russia. And what changes need to be made to you know, make that occur, I don't know. You know, that's an even greater conversation. But I think this event will serve as a crucible for like the WNBA and the NBA to look in the mirror and be like, this isn't working, and there's things we need to change going forward.
This is definitely a catalyst for the numbers to. I need the viewership to double. Like women have to care. It may be a simple thing of like kind of targeting it towards a different audience. Like, of course, you want the women to play and stuff, but women in America just don't watch it. I know a lot of like the athletic women from like soccer that we knew out throughout the years. They didn't watch women's sports like that. They watched a lot of like entertainment TV, like fucking, you know, Real Housewives or regular movies. Like we watch like Marvel shit. I don't even have to like, you know, make it seem like it's just women's stuff, but like they don't watch women's sports like that. They don't really watch women or men's sports like that either. It's just like,
but you're never going to get people to watch sports when it's like, you have to watch women's sports because it's the right thing to do. Because you have a daughter and you should do the right thing so that she has representation and she has somebody who she can look up to a TV and she can believe that becoming a basketball player is a legitimate career. Like that's not going to work. A moral imperative telling people what you ought to do. What you need to do is make it interesting and entertaining so that people can follow the storylines. They can get invested in the players and they can like then, you know, as soon as you're invested, now things matter and now things are exciting. But if you never hear WNBA storylines, if they're never achieving relevancy by something other than Instagram videos of them scoring against some random guy at the Y or a picture with their fucking ass hanging out on Instagram, like they haven't done a good job of attracting the average casual fan to go see their product.
You already know what my solution is. So lower that rim. I need to see some yams. I watch them sometimes. It's not like I'm not going to say I watch them all the time, but like I watch it every now and then. And I've been watching it. Like they've been here since the MLS has started. Those two leagues pretty much started around the same time. The MLS has got a what was it, like $100 million deal with Apple? It might be $100 billion, but like I doubt it. But they got a separate TV deal with Apple TV. WNBA, same amount of time. MLS is killing them. Like people watch basketball more than they watch soccer. That is fucking true. But something's got to give. Like I said you got a smaller ball, lower the rim. That's my only solution. I don't have another marketing solution. I'm not a marketing major and all that type of shit. You got to do something. Something.
I have one. Call more carries. That'll save the league. That'll be what saves it.
Yeah, right. Hey, look. Like I said, all I want everyone to know is I'm glad that Griner's back. It just was not an even trade. That's all we're saying. And I like what you said. You put it in the words that you put it in.
Thank you, man. I do want to say one last thing on the Brittney Griner thing. Like, one of the articles I read kind of gave like a nugget of what some of her time was like in Russian prison. Mm-hmm. From the article on CNN, it reads, most of the women at the prison she was at, which is named IK-2, worked during the day sewing uniforms. But the 6'9" Griner was too tall to sit at the work tables, and her hands were too large to manage the sewing. Instead, she carried fabric all day. It said she liked the job compared to what she might have been doing. So if you were wondering what Brittney Griner was doing in prison, she was fucking walking around carrying fabric. That was her day-to-day in Russian prison. And if you're wondering why she's bald-headed now, it's not because she got a call from Jada Pinkett. It's because every time she washed her hair, it was so fucking cold there that her hair froze. And she was like, I'm not doing this a whole winter.
Oh, is she bald now? I haven't seen her.
Yeah, she bald-headed. All her locks were freezing up every time she washed her hair.
Then that's crazy. Hey, look, you saw that on the news. I saw something different. But, every news outlet is different. Look, she's back. That's cool. I just need some more viewership. If y'all don't want this shit happening no more, if you don't want your ladies going over there and getting detained for 200-something days, start watching fucking women's basketball. And the WNBA and the NBA need to do something different, like you said.
Would you watch a league where women played against men?
No.
No? Not the best men. Not the best men.
No, I wouldn't watch it.
No, you wouldn't? Okay. No, I'm just wondering.
That's just me. I'm fine with the women playing basketball. That's not the problem.
No. That's not the problem. I'm just saying, like, are we even just too caught up in genders? And, like, what if we just had a fucking league that, like, the second tier of all players play in? And it's, like, some of the guys who play in Turkey and some of the women who play in the WNBA. I don't know. Just spitballing around.
What I had said, though, before, when we had talked about this, I think months ago. People watch women's tennis. People watch the U.S. women's national team play.
Hold on. But about women's tennis, though, and people say this all the time. I think the reason that people like watching women's tennis is because it's a superior viewing product for the people in the stands. In men's tennis, these motherfuckers are hitting the ball 130 miles an hour, so they barely have rallies like that. It's like 3-4 back and forth, and then somebody fucking smashes it. In the women's game, they can have these 25 fucking hit rallies back and forth. It's a lot more entertaining to watch for the casual viewer. It's not the same thing for the WNBA versus the NBA.
No. It's all about the product and what it looks like, That's it. It's not, for some people, of course, it's obviously like a sex thing, but it's really not that. Like, it's just not a superior product to something that's already being done. Like, the NBA is awesome. They have top 10, like, dunks. They have top 10 crazy-ass plays that we just don't see in the women's game. And like I said, I've only had my one solution, and I'll say it again. Lower the rim. Let Brittney dunk on every girl. Let her put all her frustrations on the rim this season. Lower it. Head tops, baby. I want to see it. I want to see her get dunk on people, bro. Like, come on. It ain't that hard. I'm just asking for one.
I wonder if as many women in the WNBA are doing the too small celebration like they are in the NBA. But too small has swept the NBA like COVID-19.
They do it. They do it. I don't know. Whatever. Like people watch women's sports when they're nice. When they're really good, people watch it.
They do the Russell Westbrook rock the baby, but also have like make sure they're attached to the nipple.
There you go. I knew it. I couldn't trust you for longer than 20 minutes.
Hey man, I held out as long as I could. Let's transition over to the NFL.
Oh man, go for it. What do you want to know?
Doing this just because you wanted to, Terry. Terry wanted to have an NFL topic. I could just spend 40 minutes talking about why Marcus Mariota should never play again. But instead, I wanted to ask you, who's the most underrated player in the NFL?
Most underrated player in the NFL? That's a difficult question, dude. It's too many fucking players for that. But there's only one guy that came to my mind when you said this. Trevor Lawrence. No, it's not Trevor Lawrence. I think it's always going to be Jalen Hurts until he wins his MVP. People are underrating this dude.
Oh, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
And I also say Kirk Cousins as well. Because, like, people are shitting on the NFC for some reason, right? Well, it's not for some reason. Like, the NFC, for some reason, this year is, like, way worse than the AFC. Jalen Hurts, in the beginning of this season, if he played one or two bad games, they were thinking about yanking this kid for Gardner Minshew. All right? They were doing the every game last year. If Jalen Hurts didn't have, like, a decent game, they were going to yank him. And they were doing the same shit this year. This dude is 10-1 with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Cowboys came in as one of the favorite teams. He's mopping them. Now, I understand Dak has been out for, a decent amount of the season. The Eagles beat the Cowboys with that Cowboys' great defense. They beat them. It didn't even look like that hard of a game. Hurts has gotten way better passing the ball. That we all know he can rush the ball crazy. And also something I learned, he used to squat like 450 pounds. He squats 500 pounds. He squats as much as the offensive lineman. Dude's a beast.
They say he's the strongest dude in their weight room pound for pound.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're like, he's stronger than our running backs and our fullbacks and our tight ends. Like, it's wild.
Yeah. And I just think, like, if his passing game continues to kind of progress like it is, he's not going to get his flowers until he's getting, like, 35 touchdowns, in a season, like, passing. But I think he's just underrated, bro. He's an absolute monster, dude. His completion percentage is fucking ridiculous. I love him.
Terry, I love that pick. I love that pick, man. Well, I'll talk about Jalen Hurts before. And this, for me, is a larger conversation. And inevitably in America, it usually goes back to race. It is, in my opinion, in my observation, that when we see a black quarterback who's very talented, we always have to see him prove everyone wrong before we believe. He has to answer all the questions before, like, people hop all the way onto the bandwagon. We still have to see Jalen Hurts throw the ball in the playoffs before people believe that he's an MVP guy. We still have to see Lamar Jackson dissect and be perfect throwing the ball, even without a credible wide receiver on his whole team in the playoffs before we believe that he's actually that guy. And yet guys like Justin Herbert, guys like Josh Allen, who have no more, playoff success than Lamar or Jalen Hurts. Josh Allen, has he won one playoff game in his career?
Maybe.
Justin Herbert's never even been to the playoffs. And we talk about these guys like they're finished products. And like
the Herbert shit kills me.
All the questions around them are their teammates. Well, they're injured. Who's he have to throw to? Well, the offensive line, Josh Allen, he did, the running back situation, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as they're black, now they have to prove everything before we give them that top 5 status. So I think this is a great pick by you, Terry. And I wonder if it's colored by something more than the X's and O's that we're seeing on the field.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of black quarterbacks now. So I think it's still a smidget of it there. Not as much as it used to be. I never even really thought about that because, like, Mahomes is black and he's way ahead of almost everybody. Like the
but he did it the first year though. Like he almost doesn't count because he won the Super Bowl in his first year and won MVP. And so it's like, what the fuck are you going to be able to say? Like even if you were going to say anything, now you sound stupid because he won the MVP and the Super Bowl in his first year starting.
No, that's facts. I mean, people still talk about it. Like that's why I said like it's still there a little bit, and also the fact that like Mahomes sounds like a quarterback. You know how people just don't like the cadence of Lamar Jackson. They don't like the way that Cam Newton talks. They don't like the way that Jamarcus Russell talked back in the day, even though he sucked. They would rather hear somebody sound like they're supposed to be in a TV announcing booth. That's what they like. That's what they love. But when you look into
I gotta say, Jalen Hurts, like, have you heard his post-game interviews or anything like that?
He's great, bro.
Yeah, dude, he's like as polished as you could possibly want. And it doesn't sound like manufactured like Russell Wilson, where it's like, I'm hitting all the bullet points of everything that you're supposed to say in the post-game press conference. It all sounds like it's coming right from his heart and it's stuff that he believes in.
Yeah. No, he's a leader of men. Jalen Hurts is a leader of men. He's going to be great. I understand why people question him. Like, look, you do have to be able to pass. Like, your rushing game can be amazing, absolutely outstanding, but you do have to pass the ball every now and then. That's why San Francisco didn't win that Super Bowl. If Garoppolo could have completed that one pass in that Super Bowl game, they would have beat the Chiefs. But he couldn't do it.
I couldn't imagine how we'd talk about Garoppolo if he was black.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But no, man, I mean, like, look, it's just how the NFL goes. Like, you do have to be able to pass. And unfortunately, like, if guys aren't going to be like Mahomes, you know, getting those crazy numbers, those passing numbers, then they're not going to look at you like that. It was the same shit with Tebow. I didn't like him. If you can't pass, I'm not fucking with you. Hurts is showing me he can pass a little better. I'm starting to like him a little more. Hopefully next year, if he's in fantasy, I'm picking him number one. Dude's a beast. He's an absolute stud, bro. And he doesn't turn the ball over, so that's why I really like him the most.
Nah, he doesn't. He doesn't. And he gets all those rushing yards, too.
The Herbert shit, that's what, like, it was a dude on The Ringer. I was listening to The Ringer.
Oh, they fucking love Justin. They have the biggest hard-on in the world for Justin Herbert at The Ringer.
You cannot say that Justin Herbert is better than Mahomes or just as good. He's not on the same level as Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is toying with people. Herbert wishes that he was him. Mahomes kills the Chargers every time he plays them. What are we even talking about? And the Chargers got Khalil Mack and Bosa on both sides. Still can't do shit with him. So I'm not trying to hear none of this shit. If he had the pass protection that some of these other teams get, he would get not double, but he would get even more touchdowns and less interceptions than he does. He's a beast, bro. Stop it. I'm not trying to hear that shit.
Herbert. If you don't think race colors how we view this shit, remember the back of the season when people were picking Derek Carr to win the MVP.
I didn't hear that, but that's insane. He's been so bad. He's never been.
All right, let me get to my most underrated player, Terry. And I actually have 3 nominations, and I'm going to work down from 3 to 1.
Daniel Snyder. Not enough time.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he least valuable entity. All right, my third guy who I wanted to highlight plays for the 49ers. Safety, Talanoa Hufanga. A guy who's
he's a beast.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about with the big hair.
He's a beast.
This dude he's a fucking lightning bolt, man. Like he just runs in straight lines all the time. Every time I see him, he just like a 10-yard sprint to blowing somebody the fuck up.
Yeah,
he just plays so sudden. Like he's a big hitter. He has a great nose for the ball. He has a couple pick sixes.
He reminds me of Tyrann Mathieu, bro. He really reminds me of the Honey Badger. You know, the obvious name would be Troy Polamalu, but he looks just like him. But the way he just his pursuit of the ball, bro. Oh my God,
it's crazy. Him and Fred Warner together on that defense, dude. They're headhunters out there.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Hufanga's my third one. All right, my second one is a guy who I chided before the season. I made fun of Haji for drafting him in fantasy. I referenced how he was last.
Wait, hold on. Haji didn't draft him. Haji auto-drafted him. And I'd like to say, if we do another fantasy draft and people are auto-drafting, I quit. Draft your team or I'm out. These dudes that are at the top, all auto-drafted. I'm out, bro, because they don't know who's good and who's not good. I'm out of here, bro.
For context, Terry's upset that he drafted his whole team and is worst in the league among people who are actually participating.
It's ridiculous, dude. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like I'm scoring points, but every team I play against, they got the most. I'm like the second most points scored against me because these dudes auto drafted. But I digress. Keep going. Go ahead.
He drafted Josh Jacobs. And last season, Josh Jacobs, he had the worst average yards after contact in the NFL. I was like, all he does is take up good blocking. He doesn't eat any of the extra meat that's on the bone.
Yeah.
And this season, he's been a completely different guy. He's leading the NFL in rushing yards. He's leading the NFL in yards per scrimmage for a running back. He's got a ton of touchdowns. And he's played behind one of the worst offensive lines in the whole NFL. And he's doing that. So I'll be the first one to say I was wrong, Josh Jacobs. And you deserve more respect. And I underrated you vastly coming into this season.
Yeah.
He's good. Like now he's like legitimately like a top 5 running back that you have to talk about in that pantheon with Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb and
Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
I like rushers. I mean, Joe Mixon is cool, but I like people that can rush the ball. Like a lot of these dudes.
All right, whatever. Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, whoever the fuck, Cordero Patterson, whoever you want.
Derrick Henry.
You said him. Yeah, but yeah.
That's all I want.
All right, my last guy, Terry, is Geno Smith.
Yep, I was about to say he's the guy. He's the guy.
My most underrated player in the NFL. He's the PFF's second highest graded quarterback this whole season. He's taking care of the ball and not turning it over. The talent on the team isn't spectacular, but he's throwing for a gang of touchdowns and managing to keep them balanced with the run game as well. He's just playing really solid football. And for a guy that, like, everybody gave up on after seeing him for the Jets and the Giants, we were like, this guy is fucking trash. Russell Wilson leaves. We're like, this is going to be a lost season for Seattle. And they're good. He's good. He's my most underrated player in the NFL. Shouts out to Geno Smith.
Bro, second in passer rating, first in pass completion. And it's not like he's just throwing, West Coast offense. Like, they're throwing the ball because I think he's like 8th or 9th in passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's a beast, bro. He's killing it. Russell Wilson
Honestly,
looks silly.
If you close, and I really believe this, close your eyes after this season and just look at the numbers between Aaron Rodgers last year and Geno Smith this year and tell me which one was which player.
I mean, A-Rod went crazy last year, but Geno's numbers are pretty good.
No, he had like, what was it, 34 touchdowns and like 4 picks or something like that?
I don't remember.
It was around that the season before, where it's like not 50 touchdowns like Mahomes or anything, but it's like 30-something and he threw less than 10 picks.
He was
like, he's doing the Aaron Rodgers shit.
That ayahuasca, dog. That ayahuasca. Aaron Rodgers. Hey, look.
His third eye opened and the Packers window closed.
Geno's killing it, man. Russell Wilson just looks sad. This Geno shit is just like, wow. I mean, what was the Richard Sherman said it on his pod the other day. It was like Geno had, I think, 6 games straight of a passer rating over 100 was a franchise record. And I was like, wait, what did you just say? Like, didn't they have a franchise quarterback for 10 years? Oh, yeah. They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though. Geno Smith, he's the fucking man. He's killing it, bro. He's number 1. Nobody's above him. He's an absolute beast, bro.
Golly,
I got to give it to him.
If he were just white, he'd be better than Herbert.
Oh, God. look, Geno's got to give me some more years, though. But he's a beast. He's going to get a good contract after this. And I'd like to say this, though. The spark of any NFL conversation we wanted to have today, because we don't talk about the NFL as much. The people, bro. The American people. You did this to me and Garrett. You did this to us. You watched the Cowboys blow out the Colts. 20 million of you watched that. You know how many people watched USA versus the Netherlands? 16 million people. You know how many people watched USA versus England? 20 million people. The same amount of people watched the American soccer team play the English soccer team, which is one of the better teams in the world. The same amount of people watched that fucking game. I can't believe how much football is like just taking over America, bro. Now, if you want to do world numbers, it's not close, but like that's not fair. There's just like, the national teams. That's not fair. But overall, I don't get it.
Barry, I checked the statistics, and 18% of our viewers are from India. So you don't want to sleep. You never know.
India, they're so bad at soccer, they don't even care. They'll watch anything. There's so many
half-star FIFA team.
Yeah, man. Hey,
but let's go from a half-star to a 5-star. Deion Sanders this week accepted a job as the head coach of Colorado University. This caused a big uproar amongst the black community, and I don't really think any white people were too upset about it.
No, he took a job that paid him more. Like, what? Every single person that was white was like, he took a job that paid more money. Like, what are we like?
Yeah, they're like, we get that. We don't go to work with a responsibility. We just have a job to do.
Yeah.
So since Deion Sanders decides not to support HBCUs anymore, Terry, I decided that I'd take the torch from him and show up with a little anti-Aggie pride, a little bit supports HBCU swag, because somebody has to now, right? All right. So tell us about why folks are so upset. Are you upset? Are you mad at Deion? Is he doing the right thing? Tell us how you feel about Deion leaving the HBCUs high and dry.
Mr. Deion. Nah, I'm not mad. The only thing I'll say is this, bro. This is the problem with the fucking black community. It's just so much just split decisions on everything, man. I'm proud that Deion is going to Colorado. He's going on to pastures where he can make a lot more money for himself. He can also shine a light on his sons and have them make it to the NFL. Not only like Jackson State, there weren't even one AA when he got there. They were in the FCS. He moved them up to the SWAC. Their facilities have improved by a lot. He gave them sponsors from Pepsi. They had brand new uniforms for almost every single game. They had
Under Armour that they'll continue to have that partnership after he leaves.
Like he gave the whole conference a TV deal for 10 years. So almost a lot of the games are going to be on TV for the SWAC, first of all. Like I said, your facilities are way better. Your stadium might get an improvement. He gave you Pepsi. He gave you fucking, I don't understand the hate, bro. He just helped them out. He helped out the whole conference. And he
gave up half his salary.
Yeah, he did.
It wasn't just that he got him all that shit. He gave up half his fucking salary to do it.
He did, bro. And my thing is this, bro. Like, I get that when somebody great goes to one place, especially at HBCUs, they usually stay for a long time. Like, I understand that. You can look up the history. There's a bunch of guys that stayed at universities for a long time when they were good. But they're not Deion Sanders. Deion was great before he got there. Those dudes, they weren't great before they got there. Deion is probably the most popular football player in the history. Like, is anybody more popular than him? Maybe Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Certainly not amongst people who attend HBCUs.
No, but like, look.
Yeah. I think maybe Dan Marino or Joe Montana might challenge him amongst the regular populace of the United States.
The only things I've heard from like people that I respect is this. Bomani Jones, he said, he promised us a dream and he, cut out on the dream. I get he only stayed for 3 years. He went undefeated this year. He lost one game last year. It was a COVID year the year before. He went 4-3. Basically, for me, he was saying he wanted to stay at Jackson State longer, but Jackson State was doing some shady business things behind the scenes that a lot of people didn't understand or didn't know about. They were selling out games, but they weren't getting the full compensation for those sellouts. They would sell out 60,000 tickets, but for some reason, only 28,000 were accounted for. Something's going on. If he's not going to get paid his full salary, even though he's giving you the money back, he gave you half of it back, there's a problem there. But for the community, I'll say this. You just need to continue the positive momentum that he started for the whole conference. You still got Eddie George coaching in the league. A lot of the guys from the NFL just need to come back and help. Like, you see LeBron and Chris Paul fucking wearing that shit, even though they didn't go to HBCUs. They may not donate. Who the fuck knows? Donate money. I've donated money to my parents' alma mater, NCCU. We have to pay for the fucking soccer field. They asked me, you know anybody who can pay for it? I asked my parents. They gave some money so we can rent the shit out. I'm not trying to hear no shit from anybody. All right? That's just me.
Hey,
just continue the positive momentum that Deion Sanders was doing. He's one person. But if everybody that ever went to a HBCU gave back, then maybe we could have some positive momentum and be something that people will watch. Like, y'all aren't doing shit.
No,
talking shit.
No, and this is something that's like little understood by many people who haven't spent time at HBCUs. Most people can't even name 10 HBCUs. There's like
they're underfunded.
30. You know what I mean? Well, here's the point of how they're underfunded. HBCUs are state-funded institutions, which means the state legislature sets the budget for everything in the university. They set the overall budget. They set the proportions of how the money is allocated. They set the football budget. Colorado's budget for their school is marginally higher than Jackson State's.
Yeah.
But their football budget is over $80 million because it isn't regulated by state legislators. Mm-hmm. They're allowed to accept these donations from boosters. They're allowed to take their money from tuition from their students and put it towards it. It's not just funded and regulated by the state. Because of this, it's hard for, Jackson State or any other HBCU to escape this cycle because all these PWIs, predominantly white institutions, have multiple sources of funding.
Yeah.
And they can get this money from multiple different avenues and then use it to increase their budget, where Jackson State is dependent on the state legislator. So how could you ever compete with that? This is what we talk about when we talk about institutional racism.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. And, for all the people criticizing Deion, and to your point about black folks, how there's always like multiple schools of thought and so much derision and so many people, it's never enough. And we always criticize our own. I'd say reference Nas. When Black Zombie said, fuck black leaders because whites ain't got none leading them.
Yeah.
Like, black people are not a monolith. The only time you should be a monolith is when Jerry Jones comes out and it fucking has a picture of him trying to prevent black folks from entering the school. That's when it's time to be a monolith. Not when it's time. Not when somebody dedicates years of their life and improves everything across the board in a way that you didn't think you could be improved in 20 years. He did it in 3. It reminds me of, what's that song where Kanye was talking about how the next man of him is going to have a good girl because Yeezy taught her?
Oh, yeah. Nah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, Yeezy taught me. That's Jackson State. They're going to be set up for success with the Under Armour, with the new facilities, with everything, because Deion taught him. And I think he did more for HBCUs in 3 years than any other figure has done in a decade. I think the part that people begrudge him, and, this is something that I feel this way as well, is like, don't bring God into this. All right? When he went to Jackson State, he was talking about how he had a message from God and he had a mission from God, and it was God's quest that he was going to, elevate Jackson, all the things that Bomani was talking about.
Yep.
And then he takes the job in Colorado and he says, I got a collect call from God and I wasn't going to not answer. Like, when you start to involve God in all of your decisions and then like give him the credit or like the reasons for things, that's when the waters get a little bit murky. And when people start to be like, all right, well, at that point, it's like, hey, you know what? God told me to go to USC. God told me to go to College Game Day and get this fat check. Like, when you just put any of your decisions and it's just like, God told me to do it, I think for a lot of people, it's a way of like skirting accountability and responsibility and being like, hey, I made the choice to leave a lot of these kids who I recruited out in the cold because I had a better opportunity.
I got
and
you.
I think that's the part that kind of rubbed people wrong. But for me, I love Prime. I always love Prime.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing wrong with him leaving. And, he did as much as he could. But the thing that disappoints me is that he went to Colorado. It's like, dude, you couldn't have waited another fucking 6 months or a year. They would have given you the job at like Oklahoma.
It's just a natural progression. Like, I think for him going to Colorado, it's not that big a deal to me, but I think that was more on like he can do more things his way because they don't really have like an infrastructure of greatness. The team went, I think, 1-11 or 1-10 or some shit. They won one game. Whatever the amount of losses, they only won one game last year. They had Josh McCown's son as a quarterback, and they couldn't even win more than one game. Like, If you go to a place like that, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. It was the same thing at JSU. He
Looks like McCown's destined to be a backup, just like his dad.
No, but it was like the same thing when he went to JSU. He can invoke more change there because there wasn't. I mean, they were a more prominent football program, but like he could make a lot more change there because he could do what he wanted there. So that's why he could improve facilities as fast as he could. He could improve everything in a 3-year span. Same thing with Colorado. They don't have an infrastructure, so he can improve things probably in like a 1-year span. There's a transfer portal. He can bring whoever he wants to go coach or play with him. He can do whatever he wants. He gets the best coaches. He gets the best players. They know they're going to the NFL if they play for him. That's a given. Ain't nobody mad about that. I'm just not trying to hear no criticism towards him at all. If you're not doing anything to help, shut up. If you are, I feel like Bomani probably has. His mom was a teacher at HBCU. So I can hear it from him. But Bomani was saying the same thing, though. It's not that he's not mad about him going to Colorado. He's just talking about one thing, just the God thing. Honestly, every single person in at least a public eye on a public platform, like a grand platform like ESPN or any of that type of shit, black people really weren't that mad about it. Bomani was maybe one. Jason Whitlock, yeah, but he's not on a show. Exactly. Yeah. Everybody else, every Twitter fingers, Facebook, YouTube comments.
I want to see Jason Whitlock's Ancestry.com. All right? That's all I'm going to say.
Look,
before we go out on a limb and assume his race, I just want to see that. Yeah.
All I'm asking is this, right? You've been on Wikipedia lately, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be asking for a donation of $2, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If every single fucking graduate, or at least a person who went to HBCU, or even a black person, help out. See what you can do to help. Stop criticizing. Let the man make his money and be great. Then you go to Jackson State and try to help them out. You go to fucking NCCUs for me. North Carolina A&T on your hat. Help out. Stop complaining. Help the conference be better.
But the real way to help is to help them develop another revenue stream so they aren't relying on the state legislator to set their budget, to get out from being controlled and being yoked by the state. Because
and
even if a bunch of people come to donate money, the state will just say, oh, well, that's great because we need to upgrade our computer lab.
Yeah. And Deion did that. Deion did that. So I'm not trying to hear no shit from nobody. Like, he did that. And I'd like to say this. Jackson State has 4 NFL players in the Hall of Fame. That's I think, 10th most in all of college football.
Yeah.
They got a program that could be great. Y'all can continue to help Jackson State out. That's not going to be a problem. That's not going to be a problem. Stop complaining and help. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
I'm not complaining.
The last thing I'll say, and this is to all the HBCUs out there, you mentioned Eddie George. Where's he at? Fisk? Tennessee State? I thought he was out there in Tennessee.
Tennessee State, I believe. I think so, yeah.
Yeah. There's only one Deion Sanders.
That's true.
Right? There have been a lot of great players in NFL history. They're not going to be Deion Sanders when you bring them in the pro. Primetime has been one of a kind his whole life in the way that he gets people to believe him, his internal confidence, his way to show others. Like, he is legit, and he's one of the few great players that's like one of the best to ever do it that can explain the minutia of the game and how to get better to other people instead of like, you know, being like Magic Johnson, being like, oh, this guy just doesn't have vision. Like, you know, Prime will teach you where your eyes are supposed to be, where your hands are supposed to be, how your body's supposed to be aligned. He'll get you to believe in a bigger picture that we can change the whole landscape, that he's big enough and magnanimous enough to do it. I know there are other great black players who played in the NFL and some of them who went to HBCUs, but don't think that you can just hire some Hall of Famer and make him the coach of the HBCU and he's going to be like Coach Prime, because it's not going to happen.
No, that's definitely not going to happen. But it's not just on the head coach to, you know, change the infrastructure of a whole college program. Like, it's like you guys have to. Deion is worth 20 men. You need to get a board of 20 to 30 different types of people to help y'all out, bro. Y'all need to help each other out. Stop tearing somebody down. Help each other out.
Hey, but to your point of, you know, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, white people go to work with a job to do. Black people go to work with a responsibility. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing how that responsibility is weighed on Deion and the backlash that he's getting from in some people's opinions, shirking some parts of it and not fulfilling what he's promised.
And I bet
for us, shouts out to Deion. Best of luck at Colorado State. I hope you turn around. I'm going to be rooting for you. And you probably could still beat me in a 40-yard dash with 6 toes.
Most definitely, bro. I'm just saying, he gave them like $500,000 back, bro. He's cool. He's giving money back. Y'all ain't doing shit, so shut up. Shut up.
Hey, I bought a T-shirt.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about blacks.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man. I bought this on Juneteenth. Come on.
Nah, man. Shout out to HBCUs, bro. That's all I gotta say. I've done my part. All I'm saying, but I'm not criticizing. If you ain't criticizing, I'm cool with you. Keep doing what you do. Support the man. Support black people, bro. Stop bringing people down.
Yeah. It's been a nearly flawless 2 weeks for you, Terry, with you stepping up on the Jerry Jones stuff. Now this. If you had just kept those comments about lowering the rim to 9 feet to yourself, you would have had a perfect
Hey, Deion Sanders, bro. He's made more black people millionaires than I've ever counted in my life. So I'm just saying. Anybody doing that?
More than Barry Goity.
I'm just ready to see. Hey, look, low-key though, I'm ready to see Travis Hunter D1. That shit's about to be crazy. I want to see how he's really good. He was killing the swag. And I don't even think he played every game, but this dude's about to fucking be crazy.
I'll wait 2 years to see him and Marvis and Harrison Jr. in the NFL. I'm not watching fucking college football.
Ah, boo. Hey, wait. Hey, look, hold on.
Hey, shouts to Biagio and Vinny, though, who took me to see the ACC championship game in Charlotte in the Panther Stadium. Stayed in the fucking box seats, fucking right down there on the field, everything. We left as soon as he threw the 98-yard pick six.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Clemson is too good. Clemson's too good, man. It is what it is. I mean, we've gone a really long time. I guess we don't have enough time for Netherlands and all that other shit, so.
Oh, yeah. I guess we should shortly say, while we recorded this podcast, Brazil got knocked out of the World Cup by Croatia in penalties. We didn't see a single minute. I don't have a bit of analysis. All I can say is this was an upset and a tough look for Brazil.
Yeah. Who would you say was going to win the World Cup again? Did you say Spain? You didn't say Spain, did you?
I did say Spain.
Fucking crazy. You're insane.
Listen, man, they gave me. Hey, they put me with the. I fell for the fucking banana in the tailpipe. They tell me they're going to start Ansu Fati the whole fucking tournament, play him in the scrimmage game, and then he ends up playing like 48 minutes like he's Brendan Aronson in the whole fucking
all I'm
tournament.
Saying, hey, a lot of people like.
Meanwhile, guys like fucking Asensio are starting must-win games. Danny Olmo is playing 500 minutes in the World Cup. And guys like Thiago Alcantara are sitting at home with their thumb up their ass.
That's an interesting one. I forgot. We didn't even talk about that when they first came up. It's too late now. It's whatever. But, hey, look. Everybody likes to look at America and our racism. At least we played Haji right. You know what I'm saying? He sucks. All right? Ansu Fati is like a top 50 player in the world. He needs to be starting. Just saying. Give me a little something. Hey, look. And
they're like, listen, man, we played Nico Williams and Alejandro Balde.
You played the wrong blacks.
It's like, both of them played like shit.
You got to play the good one. That's so stupid. Hey, look, and I'd like to say this. I picked England to win the World Cup, and you laughed hard. Who laughing now? France is probably still going to beat their ass.
Yeah, France, if you can't even beat the USA, you're not winning the World Cup. Get the fuck out of here.
Come on. Hey, everybody they played, they ran them over. That's all I'm saying. Except for USA.
Tomorrow at 2 p.m., we get to watch two of the, people are going to be defining midfielders for the next decade in Jude Bellingham against Chouameni for France. Two guys who are they're going to be the Pirlo, Steven Gerrard, in that category for the next decade. And that should be a great, great battle to watch between great attacking young player in Jude Bellingham and, one of the most versatile and physical and defensive players in the world in Chouameni.
I got Bellingham. But the 2:00 game for December 9th, who you got? I think it's
Netherlands, Argentina, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's Argentina. Smackfest.
Come on, baby. Look at the goat in the background. You think I'm going to go against the big dog right here in the background?
Look, we like to say when we're right every now and then. We like to fuck around and say we're wrong. We love it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I will tell y'all this. 5-0. 5-0. Argentina's smacking them. Netherlands aren't good. I tried to tell y'all this. I told y'all last pod. It's over, bro. Netherlands are garbage. They're garbage.
Yeah. Last question, Terry. We saw Portugal finally demote Cristiano Ronaldo to the bench, and his replacement scored a hat trick, and they put up 6 goals.
It was interesting.
How big of a threat are Portugal now that they've finally put Ronaldo in the pine?
I mean, they were still a big threat with them on there. It wasn't the goals per se. Like the dude's goals were not. They were fine. Like the first one was really cool, but we
talked about the pressing and how that fucked up their whole defensive shit.
It's the defensive stuff. So I thought they were dangerous anyways, because like even what we had said before, even without Ronaldo, they still got Bruno Fernandes, João Cancelo, Silva.
7 world-class guys. We went through the whole list.
Nuno Mendes isn't going to play, it seems like. I think he got hurt, but they got Guerrero coming off the bench.
Yeah,
like, not many teams.
Nice anyway. And they started Guerrero over him in one of the games when both of them were healthy.
Exactly. Then Ruben Diaz is still really good. Ruben Neves is really good. They have a good team.
Pepe scored a goal at 65 years old in the World Cup.
João Felix. They
lay out.
I like their team. I told you I like their team. I couldn't pick them, but I like their team.
And we didn't even mention the guy who scored a fucking hat trick.
Exactly. Ramos. Look, good hat trick. Take advantage of your moment. I still think Ronaldo's better. It's just the pressing. Hopefully they sub him out 60th minute and we get Ronaldo for 40, because I'm trying to see something 40. I'm stupid. If we get Ronaldo for 30, I want to see something special.
No, you were right, because they add 10 minutes of stoppage time every game.
True. But yeah, man, that's it. Anything else? We out of here?
Nah, man, that's a wrap, bro. I'll see you Tuesday. Thank you guys for sticking through this episode, for enjoying it with us. Make sure you drop that like. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll kick it with y'all on Tuesday. North Carolina. Continue
to stand up.
Stand up.
Peace, brother.
Thank you for listening to our podcast this evening. Thank you. You're far too kind.